Cassadee, welcome to the Institute
Thanks.
in Birmingham. How's the tour going so far?
It's amazing. I love it. It's been fun to tour the UK again and do a headlining tour. I haven't done a headlining tour here in like 11 years.
Yeah, wow.
And to be able to come back with my own music and the new record out and then bring two badass chicks with me, you know, it's just all in all just a really fun time.
Tell us about touring with Logan and Twinny, because they must be pretty lively on tour, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
A fun
we
couple.
had a good night in Liverpool. Yeah, it's fun because, you know, it's not necessarily that we act different or whatever around each other. It's just knowing that we have this sort of common ground, being women in this industry, the same kind of struggles, touring together. You know, we're able to lean on each other whenever we need. And granted, we haven't been on tour very long, but there's already that common ground that we have. And it's just nice to know there's another female in the room that you can kind of relate to, and it's just comforting.
Yeah. Well, this is the first time that CMT have done this overseas and done a Next Move Country tour. So tell us a little bit about the honour of being involved in that and how much CMT are helping to push the female in country music.
I love everything CMT do. I love everything CMT does for women because, you know, they put such a spotlight, and the CMT Next Women platform has been so important for me because I came from The Voice, and coming to Nashville sort of as a newbie, I needed something to sort of help me out and get myself immersed into the community, and CMT Next Women did that for me. And I think this tour has done well enough for them to want to do this again, because it's the first time, like you said, and people are showing up and people are hearing about it, and I think that that's half the battle, so it's really cool.
Exciting times. Now, you came and did C2C a couple of years ago, which was kind of your first big introduction to the UK country family over here.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that, and also what you've made of the way it's grown in the UK over the last couple of years, because that must be so encouraging for someone like yourself.
It's so nice because, you know, we can see our music's made it this far. You know, we're just in Nashville or in the United States touring, and you know, to hear that our music's being played over here, that there's a demand, is so great because I used to be in a rock band and we toured the world, and it was such a genre that was very universal, and it took you to all these amazing places, and country music is becoming that. You know, it wasn't always like that, so it's amazing, and I love traveling. I love seeing different cultures and seeing different places, so it means a lot that, you know, my music's made it this far and that I can come here and people show up.
That's
you know,
awesome.
But C2C is amazing. I mean, it's like CMA Fest.
Yeah,
the way I explained it to my boyfriend's family, he's British, the way I explained CMA Fest to them, they were like, yeah, it's like C2C. I'm like, yeah, actually, same people, so makes sense.
Yeah, and you've been out on the road with Maren recently as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
Done the Girl World Tour, so tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that, and also the prank that you did on Maren, because that was just hilarious.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that prank. I've actually been doing that prank for like 10 plus years because anytime I've ever toured with anybody and they've invited me on stage, it's like the perfect well, I know what prank I'm playing. But yeah, that tour was incredible, and you know, it was really powerful because of the message she is sending to women, not just women, but people. Like, it's all about equality and love and spreading the love and treating others the way you want to be treated. And it was such an encouraging tour to be on. You know, I'm in the grind, I'm out there, I'm pushing, and I'm independent right now, so it's even more of a struggle, but it's really fun. And being on that tour and seeing her persevere, and she started out independent, and look at her now, so it's just so encouraging. And the prank, super proud of that. I dressed her merch guy up as me and got him a wig, and she has me come out usually during all my favorite people to sing, and he, instead of me coming up on the lift, he came up, and I sang side stage, and so she could hear me but didn't see me, so she was like really confused, and eventually I came out. But yeah, it was
pretty
great.
impressive.
Thanks. I'm pretty proud of that one. Yeah.
You were just talking about releasing the new album independently and the struggles that you might have had with that. It took quite a while to come out, didn't it? Was it quite a frustrating period at all for you in the lead up to the release?
Absolutely. I mean, it was more so in the lead up of getting off my label and changing my whole team. You know, that part of time for me, and like around 2017, that was really tough because I got off my label, management, publishing. I became single after 7.5 years with the same person, and it all just happened at once. And it was really scary, but it was also this thing that had to happen, because I had been waiting, 4 or 5 years before, until my next album came out. And that to me was so crazy, because that whole time I had been writing, I had been touring, I had been, really in the grind. And as soon as that all changed for me, I literally went right into the studio with my producer, Corey, and the album was made. And we didn't realize we were making an album at the beginning. It was more of just, let's go do a few songs and take it around town, show people what I've been wanting to do this whole time. And it just turned into making an album, and it was like a year and a half in the making. Next thing I know, it's out. It's just like, it was really scary, but it was the best feeling ever. So really the lead up to making the record was the hardest, not the actual record making process.
Yeah, it's a very personal one for you, and kind of nearly all of the songs on there are very like real life experiences for you, aren't they? So was it quite a therapeutic process to put together?
It was, yeah, because when I went to first do the record with Corey, it was more, I was in like not a great place. I was needing to sort of stay busy. And then when everything started changing and I got to a good place and I met someone new and fell in love, I was still writing through that. So that's why the record is so up and down emotionally, is because life happened during the making of it. So it was absolutely therapeutic.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit about the outside songs that you chose for the album, because you co-wrote 7 on there, didn't you? The other 4 on there. Tell us about the selection process for that and what the criteria is for that album.
I definitely have to I have to wish I wrote something to cut it. So when I heard If My Heart Had a Heart, that was one of the last songs that I chose for the record. I thankfully was in a good place. I think I would keel over and bawl my eyes out for a month if I wasn't in a good place and heard that song. But I was like through the thick of all of the hard, stuff of going through a breakup when I heard it. But I still really related, so I had to have that one. That's actually the one Shay Mooney from Dan and Shay singing some harmonies on, so he took it to another level. But the other one is I've Been Good. That song actually I heard probably like 5 years ago. I heard it at a writer's round in Nashville. A friend of mine, Andy Albert, played it, and I was like, can I have that song? And nobody on my team got it. They were like, it's good, I guess. And so thankfully, no one cut it in the 5 years that it took me to make a record. So I put that one on there to sort of end the record. And then Take You Home was a song that I had heard before I actually left the label. A friend of mine at Warner, he sent it to me, and he's like, this sounds like you. And one of my best friends wrote it, and I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely, it's just so catchy. And when I cut it, it was actually during a not so great time. So it was like you mentioned before, therapeutic, because it was sort of giving me hope for the future. I hadn't met this guy yet, but I was like singing about him. It was really interesting. And then there's an interlude on the record called Gavi, and that is literally one of my best friends playing. It's a voice note he sent me, and unfortunately he passed away about 3 years ago. And he was an incredible pianist. He toured with Lindsey Stirling, and so good. But I just remember one day I was looking through my texts from him and trying to just, keep his memory alive, and I saw that voice note of this beautiful piano part, and it just like clicked, like I wanted to put that on the record. And some of the proceeds are actually going to an organization his mom and sister started for him. Wow. So yeah, it's a really personal record through and through, but the ones that I didn't write are still super personal.
Yeah. Now, we were speaking to Lindsay the other day because she was in Birmingham.
Yes.
It was like Wednesday night, I think, and we were talking about Distracted because
you
had Lindsay on there, obviously Lauren Elena Rowlin as well. So
yes.
that's a real girl power song right there.
It
so
is.
Tell us about that song and why you wanted those involved.
I love them so much, and I wanted Maren to be involved too, but that was like right when things were happening with her new record, and she was like finishing things, so she couldn't make it in the studio, unfortunately. But yeah, I wanted the girls to be a part of that one. I thought it was a fun, sweet song, and they came in during CMA week and cut the song, and it literally took all of them 5 minutes because they're all so talented. But doing an album independently, if you don't think outside the box, you miss so many opportunities because I don't have to deal with red tape really. So it was great. It was one of those things where I didn't really have to ask for permission. I was just like, come sing on this, we'll figure it out later. And I'm so glad they did, because they sound amazing.
Yeah. And my personal favourite on the record is How I Feel Right Now.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
just an absolute jam.
Oh,
and you wrote that with Sarah Buxton, didn't you, and Corey as well. So tell us a little bit about working with Sarah, because she's just one of the most experienced hit writers in the business. So.
I love Sarah Buxton. Yeah, she wrote a few songs on my first record. One of them was Good Times, and she actually sang backgrounds on it. And from then on, I was like, I have to write with you again, or at least have a song of yours on my record. And that session was so easy and so fun. She actually co-wrote Bring Me Downtown as well. But yeah, I went into the session with Corey and Sarah. I just started dating my boyfriend, and I just was talking about my feelings. I was like, I don't know, that's just how I feel right now. And they were like, that's the song. And Corey had this sick track. It's actually the demo. The demo is the finished product, but just a little bit more glorified with some more live instrumentation. But yeah, we wrote that song in like 2 hours, and she's singing backgrounds on it.
That's
so
amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. Now, just finally, we got CMA Fest coming up in about, what is it, 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks? And
I know,
I'm going to be over there for the first time, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh my gosh.
I cannot wait
Lots
for
of water. Drink a lot of water.
And you're doing a fan club party, aren't you, on the, is it the Friday CMA Fest?
Yes,
So
yeah.
tell us a little bit about that and what people can expect.
I had my first ever fan party last year, and it was before the record even came out. I had a few songs that I was going to show the fans, and I did it acoustic with a Q&A, and we provided some barbecue for them, so they were super happy and ate and sat there for an hour with me singing and talking, and we took pictures after. So it'll be pretty similar to that. We're working on some exclusive merch items, and I printed some physical copies of the record that they can get to. But yeah, it's just a time for me to really I know doing signings at CMA Fest and going to the actual fanfare convention center is amazing, but to take the fans out of it a little bit and have your own gathering and sort of be able to focus on them a little bit more without all this other outside noise is so important. So it's gonna be great, and it's selling like crazy. So
that's
I'm
good
excited.
to hear. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Well, Cassadee, good luck with the rest of the tour. I think you've only got 2 gigs left after this.
I know. I'm sad.
It's whizzing by. Time flies when you're having fun.
It's so true. It is.
But
yeah.
enjoy the rest of the time in the UK, and we'll hopefully catch up with you very soon.
Cool. Thank
Thanks,
you.